There's a recent Minecraft release where one block was accidentally made so powerful that it can break the unbreakable, and that is exactly what I need for my next project. In this video, I will be unleashing the immense power of the most powerful block in all of Minecraft. Yeah, that's it, just grass. But before I can show you how this works, we need to get a few things ready, because I will be locking myself in the Nether until I'm entirely done breaking bedrock. And after I leave the Nether, we can never do this again, so I have to go in prepared. This video is the first in a series where I build up an insane Nether hub to connect all the different parts of my almost 3-year-old hardcore world. You can follow the process live on this YouTube channel 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday. If you want to support that revolution, like and subscribe. Now let's get my stuff so I can start destroying bedrock. Clearly, I need a lot of grass. I only have 1 sugar in my storage, so let me get some more from a faraway place. That should do it. Now I have to get some rockets. This creeper farm is the most embarrassing thing in my entire world. Please don't ask any questions about it. I think I have all my supplies ready. Grass blocks, rockets, golden carrots, and bone meal are all sorted. It is time to update. Because my stream chat was freaking me out, I made a backup armor set in case my inventory would despawn. I put myself in a netherite box under the nether roof and got ready to upgrade to Snapshot 24W35A. A snapshot between version 121.3 and 121.4. Since I'm still in 121, I can upgrade forward into the snapshot and then leave forward into version 121.4. Taking my world into a snapshot is still very sketchy, but as long as we're going forward, we should be fine. I made a backup in case this corrupted my world right off the bat and upgraded. This seems okay. Nothing despawned. I still have all my gear. It looks like I safely made it in. Now the goal is to load as few chunks as possible during this first stage of the new project. Because even though this looks normal, snapshots cannot be trusted, and everything I don't load should be fine. Let's check out this magic you've been waiting for the last few minutes. Isn't it beautiful? When you bone meal or grass block, the game checks for air. But there's a line of code missing here, so the game doesn't check the second block up, meaning the tall grass will always grow and delete whatever data is in that block already. So I just made a 3x3 bedrock hole in less than a minute. Also, there's nether fog because I'm not using sodium. That feels crazy. And it will make the design process interesting, I guess. Oh well, let's get busy breaking bedrock. I will just lay out a shape and make that hole much bigger. The quickest way to do this is probably 1 layer at a time. Place a bunch of grass, bone meal the bedrock into thin air, clean up, and repeat over and over again. After about an hour and a half, I made it to the top layer of the first section, which is actually insane progress compared to other bedrock breaking methods. Let's take a look. That looks so wild. It's like the grass is eating through the bedrock, which it actually kinda is if you think about it. I decided that I was going to do most of the netherrack mining once I was safely out of the snapshot. But for this first part, I just really wanted to be able to fly into the lower nether. This is going to feel so flipping cool when the whole thing is done. I spent 10 real-life days grinding in the snapshot. Besides the occasional hog assault and many repetitive hours filled with placing grass, digging, using bone meal, and more of all of the above, there is quite literally nothing interesting to say about those 10 days. You could go back and check one of these streams if you like. They were all great fun, but they were mostly just incredibly grindy. After 10 days, I was almost done. The 11th day, on Christmas Eve, I cleared some of the detached bedrock blocks along the edges to clean up. Because once I leave the snapshot, breaking any bedrock becomes so much more difficult. After about 5 hours of finishing up, I was ready to do the scariest part of all of this. Update the world to 121.4 and hope that nothing was broken in my base. Then we can finally start working on the craziest nether hub of all time. But before I show you my insane plans, I want to tell you about a really cool server and the sponsor of this video. Factoria is a brand new Minecraft survival server where you can start a nation with your friends and rise to the top of the geopolitical food chain. It has tons of awesome features, but my personal favorite is that you can never be offline raided. At your town's nexus, you can restrict when your nation is vulnerable, so you and your friends never have to worry about losing your progress overnight. But during your enemy's vulnerable hours, you can hop on your favorite pets, head over to their town, spawn in a war camp and set up the siege weapons to raid their base and claim their loot as your own. And while I did just take valuable loot from my enemies, After a few hours, any destruction to their town will be reset so they don't have to build all of it again. But if I capture it 4 times, I can claim their beautiful town as my own. Found your own nation, go to war, start a religion, achieve world peace, or become a dictator. You can do it all on Baxoria.net. Check out the server and let me know if you like it. If a lot of you do, we could maybe do a war week together. Okay, time to load my hardcore world in version 121.4. Oh, the nether fog is gone now that I have my quality of life mods again. Holy hell, that looks so insane. Oh, I'm so stoked for this project. But before we can really think about any of that, I have to make sure my base is still alright. Okay, no broken chunks or anything, that's good. Let's check if the villagers still have trades. They do? Okay, that's good. Let's see if the gold farm has worked while we were breaking bedrock. Oof, okay, that's a mess. Turns out the observer clock that powers the rotten flesh dispenser is on a chunk board. I'll fix it later, no big deal. We have a lot of work to do around where that gold farm is anyways, so it has plenty of time to produce more gold. Looks like everything is fine, so we can start the next stage of this project, but it would be so nice to have some spare pickaxes for that. With that, I should be ready to clear out all the netherrack. But there is one other thing I really want to do. I've been waiting for weeks to visit the new Pale Gardens. With the Riptide Trident, I set out looking for a Pale Gardens biome. It took a little while to locate one, but honestly not nearly as long as I expected. It felt like the garden was a little small, but it being on a hilltop looked really cool. And whether it was small or not, I was going to be able to find what I needed here. After locating a creaking at night, I hit it so it led me to its creaking heart. I collected the heart, some flowers, and some saplings, and with that, I had everything I needed from the new biome. Back at my storage base, I used a couple of resources that I got from there to make a very simple resin farm. It's not much, but it's enough to craft more creaking hearts and design a proper farm later, which will be quite important down the road. Okay, back to my nether hole. Before we start thinking about a build, I need to do what I call mining and designing. I'm going to mine out this entire area and shape the terrain while doing it. It's a fair bit of work, but I don't want to use TNT because it will damage the terrain and I want to clean it up rather than remove all of it. For the next few days, I lock myself in a continuous cycle of mining, traveling to the end to repair my pickaxes, traveling back to the nether, and then doing more mining. But every cycle, I could see more of the terrain under the nether roof. I stockpiled all the netherrack I mined out to make sure I had enough to craft all the red nether bricks we would need for the build, and I would never have to mine netherrack for terrain construction ever again. On day 6166, I found my first piece of ancient debris during this entire cleanup. You can find them everywhere except the very top layers of the netherrack. But this high up, they're really rare. On day 6174, I checked my statistics to find out that I had mined 378,809 netherrack. When I started this, that number was at less than 10,000, and I would hit 500,000 before I was done here. Day 6190 saw more ancient debris, and a very disturbing piglin ritual down in the Crimson Forest. And by day 6201, the end was finally in sight, and I was mining some floating netherrack islands to clean up the terrain surrounding my enormous bedrock hole. After almost 200 days or 66 hours, I was finally done preparing the terrain. It took a lot of grinding, but it was so worth it. And now we get to the good stuff. Let's start turning all of this into a proper build. Step 1 is covering up the gold farm so I can keep it as part of the nether hub. Since there are only 128 blocks of build height above the nether roof, my options are pretty limited. So I think the most sensible choice is trimming a bit off the top and turning this into a tower. I don't think that shape is going to be all that interesting. You know what? I'm going all out with this project. I decided to whip out the full creative toolkit and spend the next 2 streams designing in a mod called Axiom. This way, I need way less time to try out a concept for the build and discard it if it doesn't work. See, that looks way better. After 2 days of creative work, I had cooked up a really cool design, but it would take a heap of preparation to get it into my hardcore world. I need a ton of red nether bricks. They're one of my favorite blocks in the game, but they're also quite expensive. It takes 2 nether bricks and 2 nether warts to craft a single block. For the nether bricks, we can smelt up netherrack, but for the nether warts, the best option is to manually farm them. There are farms to collect them, but a fully grown nether wart drops 1 to 4 nether warts, while fortune will give you 4 to 7. That is 220% output. Considering that planting takes longer than harvesting, I think that's a no-brainer. So I expanded my base with a multi-level nether wart farm and decorated it to look like cave rooms while the wart fields were growing up to be ready for the next harvest. With the nether warts taken care of, I need to get a couple resources to expand the gold farm to world height. First off, I need magma blocks. Then I have to run by the storage to get some turtle eggs. These didn't have an item filter yet, so I will put them in my expansion room. This room helps me keep track of which components I want to add to my storage later. Now let me make my way back to the nether hub and I'll talk you through the gold farm idea while we travel there. Usually gold farms have AFK spots, but I barely AFK at all in this world. My total AFK time at all farms combined must be under 6 hours. So I want to add as many spawning spots to the farm as I can to make sure it spawns lots of mobs while I just work in the area, without having to worry about spawn proofing under the nether roof. Now it's time to wrap the farm, because there are a bunch of light blocks in the decoration and I don't want to lose any spawning spots to light levels above 11, which is the maximum light level at which zombie pigmen will spawn. The next stream, I built the first part of the gold farm decoration, but unfortunately had my recording pause the entire stream. Luckily, I have to do the exact same thing again, so we'll get to that. First, let me remove the piglin bartering farm. This one will have to be replaced somewhere else later. Now we can get back to the farm decoration, so let me grab the blocks for it. I need coal blocks from the Wither skeleton farm, crimson high fang, which we can collect from the first dull tree farm, and now we can fill in that schematic that I built. That looks awesome already. Those 4 spikes are from my past recording session, but there's 4 more at the back. So let's build those up. I'm pretty new to using Loonatic still, so this approach is not quite ideal. Please, if you do this, put all the blocks in your inventory so you don't have to jump over details, only to come back later to fill them in. I have all 8 bottom spikes done now. The next part is the energy beams connecting them to the spikes at the top that I also still have to build. Let me fly back to my embarrassing creeper farm, which actually sucks so bad that it also produces string. At least that means I can craft candles here. Now I will just dye those purple. Then we need blaze rolls from my blaze farm. And popped chorus fruits to craft the rolls into end rods. Those will make really cool energy beams combined with purple glass panes and the purple candles around them as particles. Now I just need to finish the top part of the gold farm decoration. And that is what we call the nether core. Well, most of it at least. I still have to finish some panels on the sides. The core is a machine that is built on top of the nether roof and extracts energy from the nether down below, because I need a lot of energy for something big in the near future. What I don't need is this rickety skyblock gold farm in my world. Oh my god, there's a baby piglin here. I'm sorry you had to see that. Here, have this. It's moments like these where streaming my world makes it so much better, because Stream Chat randomly decided that this baby piglin would have to be the king of the nether hub. And I figured, why not? Let's see if I can fly him over to the top of the core for the time being. Yeah, this might not go well. I have one chance to do this somewhat easily. If I break the lead, I'm absolutely screwed here, but I think I can do this. Yo, I can't believe that actually worked. I'll just drop him off right here for now. Okay, we have a start to my nether hub project. In the next video, we make some insane terrain and a couple crazy farms to help me get all the resources. That video, we go next level. Because face it, this was just the terraforming for the project. It's going to be insane.